Okay, good evening. Welcome to my YouTube network channel. Today, we will be starting a class with Module 1, which is Curing Cisco Firepower version 1.0. Exam code is 300-710. And in this module, we will be talking about deployment of Cisco Firepower. We'll be talking about the implementation, talking about configuration, how to configure, malware files. We'll be talking about the various components. We'll be talking about now all the features of what you're expecting to enable on Cisco Firepower 21. Cisco Firepower. We talk about the management and troubleshooting. We talk about integration to Active Directory, integration to ICE, integration to whatsoever. And by the end of the 3 modules classes that will be starting, the next 3 modules is going to be on Cisco Firepower. It's going to be practical, and I hope you join the class for more practicals. We will discuss theory and practical in this in the class, and we also discuss practicals in this channel. Okay, we mention it for your understanding. I will be providing the FTD images for those who will subscribe to the class, and I hope, if possible, to provide an IP address, a public IP address, ports, and credentials for you to be able to have access to the lab and practice at your doorstep. Let's start with Cisco Firepower. First of all, this is a firewall. What is a firewall? In our previous class, in the previous class YouTube channel, I will beg you to go back to those videos if you've not checked, where we talked about Cisco 5545, where we configured EIGRP, OSPF, static clouds. Okay, so that is for ASA. Now that ASA 5500 series have been announced end of life, the next upgrade to the firewall is to buy a Cisco Firepower, which has more features than what Cisco ASA blah 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 has. Okay, so if today you have Cisco ASA 5500 series and you're not that buoyant enough to get the money to buy a Cisco Firepower, you can buy a module of Cisco Firepower and attach it to your Cisco ASA. You will still enjoy the functionality. Okay. So what is a firewall? Don't forget, we are focusing on Cisco Firepower. What is a firewall? It's a security feature used to monitor inbound and outbound traffic in a network. Okay, in a network. And when we talk about types of firewall, we have 2 basic types of firewall. We have the host-based firewall, and we have the network-based firewall. So a practical example of a host firewall, laptop or your server, when you go to your Windows Defender, like as I'm showing you, you discover that you will have inbound and outbound rule. What this implies is that traffic coming from other systems to your system, to your laptop, is inbound. So that means that you have to go and allow a port. So for example, let's assume that you deployed an application on your laptop. Okay, that means that if you go to a browser and you launch localhost on a browser, localhost 999, that means that you will have to go and permit 999 these ports, okay, for the service to come up. Then for outbound are services that are leaving your system. So if you want to connect to another outside world, you have to come under the outbound rule and permit that particular port. So what this means is that your system, the firewall of your system, has records of inbound and outbound, has a record of those specific ports that should be allowed and those ports that should be denied. Okay. So based on these rules, traffic is either denied or permitted or allowed. Traffic is monitored based on the device rules like access policy, control policy, malware, file and malware policy, intelligence policy, you know. Mention the policies that you don't have on the ASA, the Cisco Firepower has. We're talking about the network-based firewall. The network-based firewall is used to secure traffic for multiple hosts. So look at this topology I'm showing you now. So this is a user segment, okay, that talks to the firewall, Cisco Firepower. So meaning that when traffic is receiving to and to reach the internet, it passes through the firewall. If traffic, and this is the server segment, assume that this system here wants to be able to access the source of the server. This is the flow. This is that there are some explicit policies, permissions that need to be done on this Cisco firepower. So without those policies, access will be denied. Okay. So we discussed all these under Cisco, under network-based firewall when we start practical. So talking about Cisco ASC, talking about Cisco ASC, you can see the so this is an image of Cisco ASC from the previous class before we started Cisco Firepower. It's a next generation firewall that was used before Cisco Firepower. Cisco Firewall has no features of Cisco ASC. I've mentioned it before. I'm talking about the components of Cisco Firepower. We have Cisco FTD, John, type. We're talking about the component. Talking about components of Cisco Firepower, we have Cisco FTD. Okay, we have Cisco FMC, and we have NGIPS. Okay, so NGIPS. So talking about Cisco, so let's start with Cisco IPS. Okay, gone are those days when there's a device that is only IPS. So it's end of life, you can't see the market anymore. And the combination, so the Cisco Firepower has this guy embedded now. Okay, as the keyboard is performance. Okay, no problem. So currently now, the Cisco, okay, good. The Cisco Firepower has a combination, has the feature of um, NGIPS and also plus next generation firewall. Next generation firewall. It has the combination of this and this together, so no more. Talking about Cisco FMC. Okay, Cisco FMC. eh, It's a Cisco Firepower Management Center. So it manages. So imagine in a scenario that you have more than two FTDs, you have two or three sites, and you have Cisco Firepower. Cisco Firepower itself deployed in all these three sites or two sites. What you need to do is to use this Cisco FMC to monitor, to manage the two FTDs, depending on the two FTDs, whether they are in the same environment or they are clustered around. You need to manage it. You can use to manage up to 20, 30 FTDs as you have, in as much as you have registered all the, you've already integrated all the FMCs to FTDs and you have registered them. In as much they've been registered, this Cisco FMC will be able to monitor, manage the FTDs. So how it's been done is that the configuration is being done on this FMC, and by the time you are configured, you deploy it to the FTDs wherever they are. So a case study of this topology table that we are seeing, that I'm saying here, this is a Cisco FMC, is being connected to, is being managed. We use this workstation, okay? We use this workstation to be able to console, to manage this Cisco FMC. And this Cisco FMC is, we will integrate it with the Cisco FTD. Okay, we integrate it with Cisco FTD. So any policy that, any changes that we want to do here, let's say we want to get the system to be able to connect to the system, where the configuration will be done is going to be on the Cisco FMC. Then once you've done the configuration, you now push the FTD. So it's just meant like a centralized system that pushes policy to this architecture. I will tell you more about that when we start implementation of the appliance. If you already have an ASC firewall alone, I mentioned this earlier on, and you want to enjoy the function of ASC firepower, there are two options. There are two ways to go about it. There are two ways to go about it to pick the best that suits your function. The first option is to use SFR next generation IPS module by SFR NGS IPS module, which will convert ASC to firepower. So what it implies is that the ASC feature will be there, but firepower services will also be available. You have to redirect traffic. Okay, so once you got the module, you now have to do a configuration where you will redirect traffic towards the end GIPS, which is called a smart engine. We will discuss this, but we will not show the full, the YouTube channel will not show the practicals, but the practicals will be done in the normal class. For the practicals that we will show you is going to be on the YouTube channel, is going to be for only the Cisco FMC, Cisco FTD, the routers and the desktop system. The second option that you can use to convert your ASC to FTD is to buy an SSD. Okay, so if you buy an SSD, you go to Cisco portal, you download the Cisco image or the Cisco of the FTD image or the FTD software. Okay, and so by the time you've uploaded or installed it, you boot your ASC to boot from the newly downloaded or installed image, which is FTD. So this what this will it will do is that it's going to remove the ESC and turn on the FTD functionality to enjoy. I will show you all. I will show you that. Talking about the implementation, users go to. So I've mentioned this earlier. I've mentioned this earlier. In terms of implementation, what this diagram, this sign coming about is that these are LAN segments, these are server segments. Okay, when traffic is going to the internet, this server going to the internet passes through traffic. Users want to access this system or want to go to the internet. Okay, it what passes through this interface. So this is not the configuration here is not naming as you do in as you do in ASA. So these are outside interface, DMC interface. So this zone can have a lot of DMZ, so which you have to configure. When the system wants to talk to this one, it knows the specific interface based on the configuration you put. So we will go ahead to. So lastly, sorry, I will mention if you have just to manage an FTD, if it is just one FTD you have in your environment, you can manage it through FDM, which is called Cisco Firepower Manager. Okay, if only it's just one FTD that you have, but if once it's advisable to use FMC, Cisco FMC to manage your devices. Configuration, configuration, it is experience. It allows for automation, okay, which are part of using Cisco Firepower. So let's do it because we discuss future of FTD. Okay, there are numerous features of FTD. We talk about the stateful packet filtering. So I've mentioned that it's based on what the policy you deployed here that we allow the traffic flow, that we control the traffic flow. We talk about NAT and PAT, NATing, PAT traffic. This is a private IP address. The time you want to go to the internet, it translates to a public IP address. So that is NAT or PAT. That's the future. Application visibility and control is the future. URL filtering. So let's assume that your company policy does not allow social media. So yeah, you enable URL filtering, you blacklist, you whitelist and blacklist as is. Security intelligence. So let's assume that they are real-time threats from India, for example. So based on geolocation, security threats, Cisco Firepower is very smart enough to detect where the threat is coming. So you know how to block your traffic. Or also whitelist. Talk about we have SSL description. There is high vulnerability attribution. A is supposed in terms of integrity with eyes or active directory. You can configure identity aware policy, content aware policy, a lot of them. Think about the policy that the Cisco ASA does not have. Cisco Firepower has those features. And there's no how about that we will talk about this systems that we will not mention licensing. Okay. So in terms of licensing, I will mention types of license that we have. I will start from saying base license. So for base license, it's a partial license. So you need to understand this. So when you get a new firepower, you need to understand the concept. You need to know your business needs. And yeah, so not buy Cisco firepower and discover that on the long run that okay, I need this license. So the truth of what talking about the base license is a perpetual license that comes with the device. Okay, there's an evaluation mode that is valid for 90 days. That is 3 months, right? So all the licenses, you can enable them and enjoy the functionality for 90 days, which is 3 months. Um, After which the license expires and you will now go and buy, subscribe to the specific one that you need. Talking about the third license, okay, entails fusion detection and FICO. We have a malware license. So this one scans for content. So every file is moving, if they are malware, the Cisco firepower detect and current time. And that malware, yeah, current time is that is the one that we have URL filtering. So if Facebook is not allowed, for example, session, you can use URL filtering. So you buy the license and you enjoy the first. Now, we have remote access VPN only. Okay, we have remote access VPN plus. We have remote access VPN Apex. So the remote access VPN plus and the remote access VPN Apex, they provide remote VPN and profile positioning if you are integrating with ICE. So if you don't have ICE in your environment, you don't need to get the license for the remote access VPN plus or the Apex. Then I've mentioned the evaluation mode earlier. Another basic, very important fusion is export control fusion. Okay, so when the Cisco Firepower comes, like it comes with MD5 with encryption. So you have to get this license so that you can upgrade the the cryptographic silver to AES 56, all those algorithms. So it's a fusion that once you are even getting once you even have it, it's a requirement that you even get that to upgrade your security features. So especially when you are doing your remote VPN, side-to-side VPN, okay, you need that feature to be able to use stronger algorithm. For practicals, okay, we will talk more about this. And today, you need to note that the first time you'll be initializing the Cisco FMC and the Cisco Firepower take approximately 45 minutes for both the FMC and the FTD setup. But note also that after the first initialization of the FMC and the FTD, which should take 45 or 50 minutes, right? It will take 5 minutes thereafter after the first initialization has taken place. So I think I've started this before. Yes, I've started this before because if I start it now, it will not go to the class finish. So what we do basically is that, like I mentioned again, your first time, okay, it's not a problem. The first time you're initiating your Cisco Firepower FTD or FMC, it takes approximately 45 minutes to boot. I've already started this. I've booted it before I start this class so that for the purpose of achieving the aim of this class overview, the default username and password to username and password for both of them is admin as username and the password is capital um, A, admin 123. So the first capital is actually the first capital is actually the first A is actually a capital letter. Then so let's see the booting option and the booting option of the FTD. So this is the FTD I'm configuring now, not for today FTD. So we just press after you enter the username so boot and let's see the basic configuration. Then we take it today and continue the next step. So I'm just pressing enter. These are agreements that you need to accept before you continue. So yeah, please enter yes to press enter to agree. So what you don't have an option to press yes. Okay, enter a new password. Remember the password again comes with the default password is admin 1 2 3 4 admin 1 2 3. The first is capital letter. So here you need to change it away from default password and we use Cisco. You can use any at your side. Confirmation. Okay, so let's see. And again, why this goes ahead, you need to understand, remember also, so do you want to configure the yes by default? That's already said yes, just press enter. You want configure the version 6? That's already said no, press enter. Configure IPv4 layers, they has already told you manual, press enter. So now, this is very key. Note that the default management of the FTD and the FMC has the same IP address by default that comes with it. Cisco Firepower. 192.168.45.45 comes with it by default, both of them. Is at this point that you can change it to the IP address that you want. So what I'm saying here is that for the FMC, this interface is 192.168.45.45. Also for the FTD, this management interface is 192.168.45.45, which is the same. So one of the interfaces has IP address needs to change. So what I will do here is that I'm going to change the IP address here so that the FMC maintains 45.45. If you didn't make this change, you will not be able to access anything. 45 dots. I will name this 46. Okay, for the FTD. The gateway is correct. Okay, so the gateway is 45.1. Enter a fully qualified host name for this system. So you can just, okay, it has already entered power, so you can press enter. The next is enter a command list. So DNS here, you can do for DNS, use the primary DNS command and use the alternative in case the primary goes down. Enter the domain, you can do let's use femi.com. Okay, so if your network information has changed, you will need to connect. So these are the basic configuration you need for the first time. Noting fully well that the management IP address, you need to agree the one that is going to change, either it is going to be the FMC. So if we go to the FMC now, we do show IP that is going to maintain for starting. So now this the initial place, another very key. Manage the device locally. So remember that I mentioned that your firewall is if your firewall is if your firewall is if your Cisco firepower is just one in the premises, you can manage it locally, but once it's more than one, you cannot manage them locally, you have to use FMC. So here, manage device locally, we still know since it's already that we want to use FMC to configure the devices. So let's see the next approach, let's see the next answer. So while we wait for the next line of action, 3 modes to configure the LTD. 3 modes. You have 3 modes to configure the LTD. For one is a glitch mode. That's like a data sign. We see that once the configuration are finished. So from the glitch mode, if you type export, okay, if you type expert mode rather, if you type expert mode, it will take you, you click on exit, it will take you back to glitch mode. It will take you back to glitch mode. Okay, to check. So the only command, you can't configure on the CLI. You can only just use CLI show config trace route, all those commands, and enter in CLI mode where you can run. If your phase one or phase two is off, if you have configured VPN, is what you can only do on CLI. You can have to use GUI. So from this system here, we manage the FTD, the FMC from a GUI interface. So what I mean is that the IP address of that we put here But since when we launch it here, right, to bring up a GUI, we try that in the next we do that in the next YouTube page. So let's see. So yeah, configure firewall mode. So like yeah, we have routed mode and transparent mode. So we use routed mode. Enter. Configure firewall mode. So routed mode or transparent mode. So we are using routed mode. So let's see for the I have less than 9 minutes to finish, and I hope you're enjoying the class. Class is currently ongoing. You can join any batch, get across to drop a comment in the chat if this YouTube page is helpful, is helpful, and we will gladly get back to you to join you to a class for more podcasts. So let's see. I hope this configuration finish well very soon so that I can show you the glitch mode, the start mode, the exit mode, the you know, and the ASI mode, yes, which is also called the cleaner mode. So let's see. So while I wait for this, let's see. Let's see for Cisco FMC. Okay, the Cisco FMC also. The username is Abdul. This is the first time of logging to this guy. Okay. Okay, so yes. So this is FMC. Okay, this is FMC management. So here, okay, so I entered experts. It takes me to the export, or that takes me to the export mode. Okay, it takes me to the export mode, which is what you can see here. If I click on exit, okay, it takes me out. So let's check the FTD. Okay, cool. So now this is the FTD. This is the FTD now. So this is what they call the fish mode. Fish mode. Okay. This is what they call the fish mode. And command you can run here a system support diagnosis CLI. When you do this, you enter you enter this mode. And here, if you enter enable, no password. So here you enter the CLI, the CLI, the AC, the show, the ASM, ASM. So from here, you can run command like show crypto Isaka if you know ASM mode, all these commands show interface, IP brief, you know, these are the normal commands that you have that you use to check your IP address. So on the no IP address, you know. So these are basically how to configure this thing, how to configure this. We configure the FTD today. So in the next class, hopefully, I believe that we will be able to to do more. Thank you very much, and wait for the next download channel. Thank you.